folks, welcome back to Indaba Active. This is Chris once again. Hey folks, welcome back to Chris Wyatt Africa. This is Chris live in central Pennsylvania as we prepare for the splashdown of the Orion capsule from the Artemis 1 mission, the unmanned mission around the moon. The first time America has gone to the moon since the 1960s, 1970s timeframe. And it is time for the Orion mission to come back and splash down off the west coast of California, not too far from San Diego. The USS John P. Murtha, named after a slimy Pennsylvania Democratic congressman, is out there, and they will do the recovery of the capsule. So that is set to splash down in about 30 minutes exactly from right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the program. And I hope that you are doing well. Ants membership, there you go. This is a unique one here. Salute with the glasses on. 17 months. Thank you, Ants. Ants says, woohoo. All right, let's go ahead and get some things up on the screen here. We do have the NASA feed now. They're in the control room as we speak. Let me just take care of something here very quickly here. Just got to make sure that the audio is off at the moment for the desktop. No, it's on, so it's a good thing I checked on that. And, all right, so they're doing a burn right now for the re-entry. Let's go ahead and get this up on the screen, and I'll keep you guys updated. There you go. That's the control room at NASA right now as we speak. Hello to everybody. Let's see who's here. Val Cooper's here. Hendo's here. Anne Marie Nell. Sorry for the few minutes late, folks, there, but I had some difficulty with IT, and I was trying to focus on it. You can see some Navy divers out there now, just in position waiting for this splashdown to take place. And there is the USS John P. Murtha, the Democratic congressman, the first Vietnam veteran ever elected to Congress back in 1969, and then he never left Congress. Kept his lard ass there until 2010 when he passed away after gallbladder surgery when he received an infection in hospital. John Murtha, the congressman from Pennsylvania. That's who the ship is named after. So Fiona, welcome to. Anna Marie Nell. Janet, welcome in from South Carolina. John Jarvis, welcome in. Stefan Fourie, welcome to you. Beard has turned into a beast since I was last here. Yeah, I don't even recall you being here. It's been that long. Yep, looks like Paul Kruger, except I have hair on the top, don't I? Oh, he had hair on the top too, didn't he? That was Coustellaret I'm thinking of that was bald on top. Well, the beard may not be here all that much longer, folks. It may go after Christmas and the New Year. I have to get a new driver's license photograph, so I may have that removed. Jonathan DT's back again. Welcome to you. And then Courtney McBride. Hello, Courtney. Go Navy, he says. Yeah, okay. Well, today they will excel at their mission. Delph, waiting for splashdown, as are we all. So these are not homemade goggles. No, these are cheap Chinese things, imported, of course, from China. There we go. Change the color. They do all kinds of cool things. There you go. I like the blue ones. Those are really cool. But for some reason, this one doesn't want to sit right on my head. There we go. Now it looks correct. They're actually a bit uncomfortable because they're made for people with tiny heads. They're for adults and kids, but they really make them so that kids can fit into them. Well, my NASA feed has gone silent. The video is live, but there's silence. I don't know why they've gone quiet now. Jonathan says, I need a pair. These are like $7. It's currently approaching the northwest coast of Australia. Eight minutes from Orion tipping into the Earth's atmosphere, beginning its burn. Re-entry, thousands of degrees. 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit to be exact. Wow, that is half as hot as the outer surface of the sun. That's pretty crazy. So VL Naidu, welcome to Light Rain. Welcome as well. Hank Klopper. Hank, we missed you for the Bulls game yesterday, which they managed to escape with a victory. Lucky Bulls there. As we get to the splashdown. NASA's misinformed us. It's over the South Pacific, not over Australia. Geordie LaForge, there you go. And that color doesn't look so great, does it? There you go, magenta. The Bulls don't operate on luck, it's talent. Stefan Fourie, yesterday they operated on pure luck. They were very fortunate that a call went the wrong way against their opponent. They're very fortunate to walk away with a victory at Loftus Versfeld yesterday. Now I look like I'm inside a spacesuit. That's why I wore these today. There you go. If you have epilepsy, look away. Now the slow burn. That's a camera from inside the cabin of Orion. It'll be very exciting as they come back to Earth. There we go. Back to the blue. No, I'm not a Shark supporter. Why would you say I'm a Shark supporter? I'm a Stormer supporter. Don't insult me like that. Been a Western Province Stormer supporter since the 1980s. They weren't no Stormers in the 1980s, but Western Province. The flickering is bad for all the woke folk. Why do this? I want to give something else. These are $7 at Amazon, folks. Go on to Amazon. You can find dozens of them. Make sure you order from Amazon Prime, so if they don't work, you can send it back to them. Also, when you charge it, it's USB recharging. When you charge it, make sure you pull the plastic strip off, because when you turn it on, it'll only illuminate on the one edge because it can't get the signal across with the plastic on there. Pretty interesting. But these are not something you want to walk around and see. So we are 25 minutes from the splashdown now. You can see in the upper corner there on the camera. Stefan says even worse. No, far better. The USA is beating the Blitzbach. Let me check in on that. I've got that game running in the backside. It is 20-7. Here's a conversion. Is it good? 5 minutes left in the second half, but that's 22-7. It's raining in Cape Town. Oh, my goodness. And nobody's at the Cape Town Sevens. Has the HSBC series killed itself with its actions during the lockdown? I don't know. Nobody, which is said, this is a stadium usually sold out for the Sevens. And right now it's 22-7 USA over top-seeded South Africa. Top-seeded because they won in Dubai last week. So USA women came in third. They defeated Ireland, so they'll get another medal 2 weekends in a row. The Blitzbach managed to get the ball. It's knocked backwards into the hands of Shilton van Wyk. He reteats inside the 22. The Eagles going to beat the Blitzbach. We'll see. They were the ones who broke the Blitzbach streak earlier this year. The first time they lost, and oh no, right? Oosthuizen breaks through, and now he's going to get away. Pursuit is on. He's running all over the place, and nobody's tackled him yet. Interesting stuff. Anyway, finally tackled inside the USA 10-meter line. And the ball comes loose. And, oh, the Blitzbach are going to score and nearly tie this up. With 4 minutes to go, it's plenty of time. So Blood is going to try to get under the post, and he gets close. That'll give him 14, and they'll be down by just a converted try plus. Chris has some big ones saying that out loud. Oh, of course I got big ones, Stefan. Who has won the most Curry Cups in the history of the Curry competition, the oldest rugby competition in the world? That'd be Western Province. Yeah, 34 titles, if I'm not mistaken. No one even comes remotely close to that total. Certainly not the Bulls. After Portugal-Morocco game, I think the World Cup is rigged. You got to wonder, Jonathan. Belgium loses to Morocco. Spain loses. Germany loses to Japan. Brazil loses. All the top teams, except for France, have gone down in an upset. And now Portugal gets upset by Morocco. You got to start to wonder. What do you mean, Whiskey Tango Foxtrot? Welcome back to the program. So the restart, and it looks like the Blitzbach have screwed the pooch on that. Meanwhile, you can see the capsule there, 24 minutes from re-entry. We're getting closer to re-entry. Yep, let me see if I can. There's no sound coming from that. So, it's useless, the NASA feed. That is not the actual capsule, folks. That's a rendition. That's clearly not the capsule. But you see the USS John P. Murtha in the tiny window there. Just 22 minutes from splashdown as we await the Orion spacecraft. Now remember, of course, the Orion mission the capsule is part of the Artemis 1 mission. Artemis is the NASA's effort to get us back to the moon. Of course, after 5 decades plus of absence from the surface of the moon with human exploration, NASA isn't focused on getting the United States back to the moon. No, NASA's priority focuses on arriving the first vagina and the first significantly pigmented person on the planet. Yeah, that's right. Our moon, their top priority is getting a woman on the moon and getting a person of color on the moon. That is their priority. So to which I say NASA should send Justice Ketanji Jackson Brown up there. Since she can't identify a woman, she could talk to all the lunar creatures out there and explain to them what it's like to be the first person of color and the first those possessing a vagina to arrive on the moon. That is NASA's priority, folks, is to get a woman and a person of color on the moon, not to return to the moon, not exploration. Of course, I'm being facetious because they're playing the virtue signaling woke stupid game. I remember just a couple years ago when NASA promoted the first black American ever to go to space. The first black American to space wasn't in 2015. The first black American to go to space was decades before that. In fact, in 1986, when the Challenger blew up, one of its crew members was a black American. Yeah, it's funny how they forget that and play this stupid virtue signaling game and get it wrong. You see the path now of Orion? It is making approach down to the west of Terra del Fuego, off the coast of Chile, out in the Pacific Ocean, north of Antarctica. So, those glasses, you like them, Critical Minds? Are they cool or what? You don't like them? Right. All right. It's silent space because there's no air. Yeah, air. Space is a vacuum. There is no air. That's correct to send sound waves. You are correct. Make it cheap and send a black. There you go. There you go. So the burn taking place now. Looking for re-entry here shortly. Entry interface is not that far away. Now, the Orion space capsule is empty. There are no humans on it. The next mission will have humans. This was the proof of concept, the first mission. Artemis Mission launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida, went into space about a month ago, and then when it finally got up there, this is after months delay. It was originally supposed to be back in May that Artemis went up, delayed all the way until last month. It goes up. When it gets up there, it goes and it orbits the moon. It gets very close to the surface of the moon, and then it comes back and circles the Earth until it's time for re-entry in an unmanned spaceflight, all controlled by NASA and automation. Pretty interesting. This is the Buck Rogers live stream. It is. That's right. Buck Rogers in the 25th century. I love that show. I love that show. Yep. Yeah, Erin Gray was in that. One of my favorite actresses back in the day. So we got 2 blackout periods coming up before it makes re-entry, and we are only, about 18 minutes away from, 18 minutes away from re-entry, splashdown. Actually, splashdown, not re-entry. And re-entry is coming sooner. That's a live camera there. You can see it rotating. That's looking from the capsule. And that's what you see on the left is that is a simulation. On the right, that's actual as it approaches the Earth. So you can see it getting closer and closer. Let me check in on the Springboks. 8 seconds left. USA is going to win a medal. It looks like. We got a TMO look here to see if USA scored another try. With 8 seconds left, if they score a try, it's over. That's a try. So we'll see if they give it to him. Did he lose? Oh, he lost control. Oh, no try. But he regains possession. That's a try. He says no try, but he regained possession. That's nonsense. Just sloppy play. And USA might have just given. Well, but they're going to win anyway because it's 22-14. The Blitzbok can't get another try, 2 tries. So, yeah, so South Africa loses the game. USA comes in 3rd and gets a medal in Cape Town. South African Blitzbok come in 4th place after winning Dubai. Wow. That'll shake up the standings a little bit. USA was in 4th place. They'll be in 3rd place with points total here. And the player who scored that try injured himself. So, wow. Pretty interesting, exciting stuff there, folks. So, there you go. Just like that. So the Eagles have come in 3rd. We're in a blackout period that's going to end in 3 minutes and 40 seconds from now. This is a simulation you see on the screen up there. USA gets a bronze medal in Cape Town. The women get a bronze medal. Excellent showing by the Sevens today. Wilma. Yeah, that was Erin Gray. Yep, she was smoking hot. Yep. Next set of Twitter files released on spicy cough suppression. That ought to be interesting. Oh, you're watching her on YouTube yesterday, Erin Gray. Well, that's cool. Wide Family Farm says super cool. What's super cool? The re-entry or the space age glasses? Hey, Mr. Punisher here. Welcome, Buck Rogers XD. There you go. We lost control for a second. I thought you were talking about the spacecraft. What, smoking hot? The spacecraft? Yes, the spacecraft is smoking hot. We're at entry interface now. We're in a period of blackout right now. Sequence events taking place for NASA. 2 minutes, 18 seconds until the first blackout period ends. Now, live coverage has been going on for some time. NASA came on a couple hours ago, but I didn't find that particularly interesting. The forward cover will be jettisoned as they approach Earth here shortly. Three main parachutes will help the craft descend down to the planet. So this is, actually we call this instead of the splashdown, the watch party. This is the watch party, yeah. Olivia Newton-John were both, yeah, shame. Olivia Newton-John passed away recently too. That's unfortunate. Cancer came back and got her. She'd had cancer previously. It came back and got her in the end. Let's change up the color here. I don't like that color. Let's go back to the magenta. Well, that's more of a waiting for SCOM to turn my Sparky stuff back on so I can make a cup of coffee. Well, there you go. Let's go with the magenta and pretend we're with T-Mobile. There you go. Yeah, I had 3 sets of these. They were $7 a pop. I could only buy them in a group of 3 from Reliable Prime. So these came from Amazon. Obviously crap made in China, but as you can see as I take it off, it has quite the designs on it there. Check that out. Yeah, so we're 1 minute from blackout, and then we'll be back with the spacecraft. We'll have communication with them again after this blackout. They're going through the Earth's atmosphere at 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Whew. Ooh, 274,000 feet currently. 17,000 miles per hour. Whew. Man. 2,000 miles per hour, and we are about 15 minutes away from splashdown in the Pacific, folks. You can see the USS John P. Murtha out there with the digging in the water. Should be an interesting splashdown. Can you tell loads about blackouts? We can tell you loads about yes, Stefan. I can tell you loads about blackout too. I've lived in Southern Africa. Yep. Well, it's only sensitive if you have no power, or it's damaged your electronics, or blown out your security camera and you get robbed. Reacquisition of signal is moments away on the Orion capsule as it descends through the Earth's atmosphere right now. Imagine all that heat generated as it comes through our atmosphere. So Stefan says I have no power, hence the reason why he's not in a joking mood. Well, I'm sorry about that. Sorry about that. But I don't control SCOM. It's a corrupt state-owned patronage machine hiving money off to the cronies of the African National Congress. Sloat Steenkamp is back, says, where I stay, I haven't had load shedding for more than a month. Okay. No, it's not my fault. If I ran South Africa, racism would end, official racism. You can't stop people from being racist. And the country would flourish and prosper. We would stop 30% to pass the matrix and restore proper education and get rid of predatory, child molesting, rapist instructors in KwaZulu-Natal who infect young girls, prepubescent and pubescent, with HIV and impregnate them, destroying their lives. We'll put an end to that. We have reacquisition of data from Orion. Orion's at a blackout. Here it comes. 13 minutes from the splashdown. And there is the camera once again. You can see as it goes through the Earth's atmosphere, it's kind of cloudy now. It's on target. And the reason why you're seeing that, I got to get through, I don't want to do this blitzing stuff here. Get back to just the regular colors. The reason you're seeing the cloudy stuff is because it's going through the atmosphere. Skip entry maneuvers coming momentarily for the Orion capsule. That is a live image you see there. You can see the burn. Look at that. Look, see some burning going as it skips through the atmosphere. Oh, signal's lost. Signal's lost. What happened? Orion, come back. Second blackout period. We're okay, folks. 2 minutes of blackout. Indeed, lights out. We're shedding the last 30 minutes or so of having lights on, so hot full. Yeah, I know, I'm with you at that. Supporters fundraisers going ape crap as his life and his family's lives being in jeopardy because of possible release. Whose lives? Elon Musk? Werkzeugmann, na, wie geht's? Es geht mir ziemlich gut. Wir haben jetzt Sonntag und unser Spacecraft kommt zurück. Skip entry maneuver. There'll be 2 role reversals coming up. They're going to bleed off some of that inertia to slow it down and release some of the heat dissipated around the spacecraft as it comes down. Yeah, no, they went to the moon, and now they're returning from the moon. This is an unmanned mission. The next mission will be manned. So... Oh, we haven't hit the second blackout. 270,000 feet is the second blackout period in about 2 minutes. Woo, it'll be 16,400 miles per hour when it goes through that blackout period. And down to just 1,000 miles away from its splashdown point. So it'll descend from 270,000 feet to the surface of the Pacific Ocean in the last 10 minutes. Woo, that's a wild ride. I'll tell you, that's a wild ride, folks. Forced to sit in a pub because of 3 sets of SCOM darkness. Oh, hey, Chris, how's it going? Thanks for joining us. You say man, but we all know the Wokies send women only. Actually, Stefan Fourie, the primary goal of the NASA Artemis 2 mission is to put a woman and a person of color on the moon. Woo! We're so excited. Not. Why can't they make a moon colony instead of aiming for Mars? Well, they will make a moon colony, Robot Tucker. That's the plan. That's what this is all about. The Artemis mission is to put people on the moon. We're going to put a colony on the dark side of the moon. Second blackout period is starting momentarily. We're 10 minutes, 48 seconds away from splashdown. A 2-minute blackout period, so we'll have only a little bit of time left. I'll make it full screen after that for the final 8 minutes and reduce myself on the screen as we get up to that. But, yeah, so they will build a moon base on the dark side of the moon, which reduces exposure to cosmic radiation from the sun and shields the colony there. And then they will eventually use that as a launch point for Mars. We are in the second blackout period right now with 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Should go to about 10 minutes and 15 seconds or thereabouts. 20 times the speed of sound at the moment. Yes, I think SpaceX will get to Mars, and I think it'll be an Elon Musk lifetime. Yeah, where do you find a pub on Sunday, says Ken Aronson. Actually, Stefan, I've already paid for a seat for Julius Malema on the first Mars mission. It's not a return mission. All right, 9:49 before splashdown to Pacific. The recovery ship is the USS John P. Murtha, named after a almost seems like lifelong Pennsylvania Democrat who served in Congress, who was involved in the AB scam. He was a corrupt member of Congress and offered to trade information so they could create jobs in his district so he could keep his plush life as a congressman. He was corrupt and he was a slime ball, John P. Murtha. But because he was a Vietnam veteran and he was a Democrat, he was hailed and praised. Yeah, anyway. John Murtha, that's who the ship is named after. Unfortunately for him, he went in the hospital for gallbladder surgery and got an infection and died from it. That's really sad. Should do well on the dark side of the moon with all our load shedding, says Stevie. Good point. Jokes aside, my ache, you can just look at those colorful shades, Chris. I'll just listen. Really? These bother you? Okay. Visual acquisition of the aircraft is taking place by NASA. All right, let's turn this off. Terrestrial stations now have visual tracking of the Orion capsule on its descent. Shut that off. Okay, those are off. All right, we're going to switch the camera, reverse this here in just a moment. (174,000 feet altitude) helicopters flying off the USS Portland now have visual identification as well. 288 miles before splashdown. Let's go ahead and switch this around. There you go. Now you have Orion on the full screen and you don't see me. We are just about 7.5 minutes, 8 minutes away from splashdown, folks. The helicopters have visual on the capsule as it makes its descent. That is the Portland. The John P. Murtha is also out there. That's the Portland right there. You can see a Seahawk helicopter on the right-hand side there, a Sea King. No, that's a Seahawk. That's a Seahawk. And you can see a dinghy out at the end of the ship. Sailors out there waiting. And we are a short time away from this splashdown. There's your view from the cabin camera. 7 minutes, 18 seconds to splashdown, ladies and gentlemen. It is on a correct course to splashdown. We are getting closer, folks. This exciting stuff here. Look at that image. 150,000 feet now. It's already closed over 120,000 feet since just a few minutes ago. And we're coming up on the splashdown just moments away. 12:39 Eastern Standard Time, 6 minutes from now. Mach 10 is the speed. Woo, that's fast. That is fast. Current speed is Mach 10 as we approach the Earth's surface. Now, once again, this is the proof of concept mission for NASA, the Artemis 1 mission with the Orion capsule unmanned, going to the moon, orbiting the moon, and then they dropped something down on the moon to land on. Their little tiny little splashdown of an item on the moon, and now returning to the Earth. You can see it going through a series of rolls now as it comes down. Now, when they actually do the manned mission, there's a discussion about whether the astronauts will be in the one portion of the capsule or move to the back of the capsule. I think that's an option for them. I'm not sure why that's necessary. Down to Mach 6 now. Speed is declining as the Earth's atmosphere reduces with the friction. 2 minutes until the jettisoning of the jet that's on there. Is there no people in the capsule? No, there's no one in it. This is unmanned. I've said that several times in this broadcast. Unmanned proof of concept. Unmanned capsule. Nobody's on it. It's proof of concept. So if it blows up like the Starship for SpaceX, there'll be no harm, no foul. Just disappointment. You can see that big flaming ball of gas. No, not Joe Biden. That's the sun. It's not Joe Biden. That's the sun in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. I know it looks a lot like Joe Biden. It's just a big flaming ball of gas emitting heat and accomplishing not a whole lot. But no, it's not Joe Biden, ladies and gentlemen. That's actually, or Cyril Ramaphosa, that's actually our sun in our solar system. You can see the curvature of the Earth there as it rotates. Actually, you can see, or is that a reflection? What's going on here? Is there a spot on the screen there? That can't be land. Not really sure what we're seeing now with this angle. It's very confusing. But we are just minutes away, folks. 4 minutes from splashdown as we approach the Pacific Ocean. Yeah, well, the Starship... 45 seconds. That's land you can see down there below. That must be a reflection of the sun. That's not the sun we see there. 50,000 feet. And you can see terrestrial space below as it comes down. Yeah, it is huge, Ken. This is proof of concept. It's been 50 years since we went to the moon. 1972 is the last time. Okay, and we're about ready to jettison here. And you can see it getting closer as it approaches. I'll drop my camera off for just a moment here, folks, so you can see a little bit better. There you go. So this is a NASA live feed, which I'm commenting on. And you can see it's rapidly descending. Obviously, that's not the sun. That's just a reflection of it back there. The sun doesn't sit in the Pacific Ocean. That's for darn sure. Interesting angle there. Anyway, yeah, it is huge. This is historic, as was the Artemis launch. I was able to catch that, thank goodness. How did he accelerate? Rockets and the atmosphere. They use the atmosphere. 25,000 feet. Are those the chutes? Looks like the chutes are deployed. Okay, there you go. First one's deployed. Those are to slow it down. I also use parachutes to slow the craft down. You see those two things right there? Look at that. They're not getting entangled. That's good news. This is a weird camera angle. What is going on here? It almost looks fake. Ladies and gentlemen, we're 2 minutes from splashdown, just moments away now from the Artemis 1 mission completion. I'm going to turn on NASA's volume now so you guys can hear it.
Orion's velocity now down to 282 miles an hour. Range to splashdown 1.5 miles.
NASA will narrate the final
10,000 feet now.
10,000 feet, and we're coming down. You can see those chutes. Those are huge chutes, by the way. Look tiny, but they are massive. No, it's not fake work, Zoigman. Not fake at all. Chaussette's girl is laughing about something. Whoops, here come the other 3 chutes to pop out.
And we're on mains.
There are the main chutes deploying now, but they don't
5,000
look like
feet.
They're catching air. That's weird. There we go. Now they're catching air. 5,000 feet. The main
Reefing
chutes.
in progress.
All right, here we go. Main chutes extended, and they're, well, 2 of them are fully full, and the third one is nearly full. All right, now all 3 are fully deployed and slowing down the descent of the aircraft. When it hits the ocean,
3 good main chutes for Orion.
At 20 miles per hour. Look at the chutes bumping into each other. That probably can't be good. When they hit the ocean surface, 20 miles per hour, this descending from
We have 3
miles.
fully inflated main chutes.
And just moments
Time
away,
to splash down 90 seconds.
1 minute, 30 seconds to splash down. I will take myself off the camera for
Perfect
the
descent rate
seconds.
reported.
This is pretty epic, folks. It almost looks like they're doing a reflection off of the surface of the capsule to see those chutes instead of pointing at them. Dartboards. Look at Christmas tree baubles. Yeah, speaking of which, time for me to put my Christmas tree up. And we are about a minute away from splashdown, folks. I would be nice if we see some terrestrial cameras here from the Navy instead of just this image of the chutes. There we go. Finally, the first terrestrial images.
And there it is, capsule. High over the Pacific, America's new ticket to ride to the moon and beyond now in view.
Look at her coming down.
Orion under its chutes, descending towards splashdown.
Seconds away from splashdown. Okay, adjust the camera there, guys. Zoom out so we can see the ocean. My goodness. Rookies, they need to work on their job here. Okay, look how it's slowed down tremendously from where it was moments ago. 20 miles per hour.
Orion in the perfect orientation for splashdown, just seconds away.
Which is the intent. They don't want that thing to hit square on. They want to hit at an angle. Here we go. Space is fake.
1,000 feet.
Now there's a lot of space in leftist heads. It's full of empty neurons. 1,000 feet. So where's the ocean? Come on, you want us to believe this is real? You got to show us the ocean, you heroes.
Good descent rate.
Can I see the ocean, please? I want to see the ocean. Give me a break here. Got me a Chrysler. It's as big as a whale, and I can't see the ocean.
500 feet.
500 feet, and we still don't see the Pacific Ocean. What the hell's wrong with this cameraman? All right, I'm calling bogus. I see no ocean. It's a lot in San Diego. They're filming this. There it is. There it is. Splashdown.
Splashdown.
We have it. Orion capsule
From
is safely
Tranquility
returned to
Base
Earth.
to Taurus Littrow to the tranquil waters of the Pacific, the latest chapter of NASA's journey to the moon comes to a close. Orion, back on Earth.
There you go, folks.
Unofficial splashdown time, 11:40 and 30 seconds a.m. Central Time.
Seconds Eastern Standard Time. That last shoot's taking a while to hit the ground. Look at that. It looks like a squid.
At a mission elapsed time of 25 days, 10 hours, 54 minutes, 50 seconds. That's unofficial. Splashing down off the coast of Baja, California.
Now, the Navy will not approach the capsule immediately because they're actually doing scientific mission right now.
The crew module uprighting system now being inflated for the bags currently being inflated.
To keep it above the water and level. That's the crew module system. So it's those bags inflate to keep it upright. Because the Navy divers won't get.
And we have a report that Orion is stable one, upright, the way it should be.
All right, so things have gone exactly according to plan, except for the crappy camera work. Level and flat. There you go. That's the same thing, isn't it?
Once again, splashdown occurring at 11:40 a.m. Central Time, 9:40 a.m. Pacific Time, west of Baja, California, after a textbook entry for the Orion spacecraft bringing its 25-and-a-half-day mission to an end.
Yes, Ken, isn't it really cool that we're alive to see this stuff happen again? It's been so long since we were on the moon. I was a child then. It really sucks that the U.S. government wasted 5 decades of space exploration with the shuttle mission and with unmanned flight. Although the unmanned missions are critical, like the New Horizons and the Magellan mission and the Viking missions, all of these things were important. But we've wasted 5 decades. We could have had long ago had a base established on the moon and people living up there. There it is right there, upright and floating in the Pacific Ocean. It will not be immediate that the Navy divers get out to the capsule because they're collecting scientific data right now about the capsule.
Orion's recovery beacon is on. We have confirmation that 4 out of the 5 crew module uprighting system bags have fully inflated, standing by for word on the 5th one.
Okay, so do we have one failure here?
But Orion is in great shape. Stable one, just in the orientation that had been expected.
There you go. Put my Johnson Space Center hat on. This one's from Texas, from Houston, Texas. The polo is for a mission launch from NASA. And then this is, I have Artemis coffee mug, a cap, and a t-shirt. I couldn't find them handy because I was getting some rest last night and I slept in. Yeah, so let me go over and take a look and see. We're getting close to the final, like anybody cares, for New Zealand versus Samoa in the Cape Town Sevens. Hopefully Samoa can pull it off. I don't want to see New Zealand win. But the USA comes in third in the Cape Town Sevens in the men and the women. Congratulations. My mom lives in Sugar Land. Well, Sugar Land used to have they still have a minor league baseball team that was pretty good. They played in the Atlantic League of Professional Baseball. They moved to another league now, Sugar Land, Texas. Never been there. When I was 19, when they landed on the moon and had to listen to a tiny transistor radio. Yeah.
This is Mission Control Houston. Once again, the Orion spacecraft, having completed a journey of 1.4 million miles, bobbing gently in the Pacific Ocean. 4 out of its 5 crew module uprighting system bags have been deployed. We're standing by for word on the 5th. However, irrespective of that, it is in stable 1 configuration in good shape, according to the recovery team.
My recommendation to NASA is stop buying your...
And we are now receiving word that all 5 of the crew module uprighting system bags are fully inflated.
Okay.
So that's exactly what we had hoped for. Orion safely bobbing up and down in the Pacific Ocean.
I thought maybe that bag came from China or ESCOM, but apparently it has inflated, just a little bit delayed. So there, I guess, was a blackout for the inflation of that 5th bag. So apparently it's up, and you can see that module just bobbing up and down there. Who said those were flat sea? That's not a flat sea. Look at those waves out there, man. You can see the horizon. Yeah. So this is Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego. The U.S. Navy's out there with USS John P. Murtha, named after a Democratic Pennsylvania congressman who spent his entire life suckling off the teat of taxpayers, and he was corrupt in the Abscam scandal. And then also the USS Portland are out there. That's the ship with the Navy Sea Kings, or Seahawks out there that are, not Sea Kings, Seahawks that are part of this mission. Navy helicopters flying over the space now, and NASA, okay, here we go. They're finally approaching. They must have collected all the data they needed now. And we have Navy... Or is that just some, maybe that was just some pleasure boat that invaded the space. What was that? Went right on by. That was odd. If that was the Navy, why didn't they go out to the capsule? Are they getting the chutes? What was that? What was that? Did you see that boat go by? Were those holiday makers out there? There is no space. Look into it before you criticize me. Who's criticizing you? This is how NASA justifies spending your tax dollars. Well, I'm happy to spend my tax dollars with this, as opposed to the Ponzi scheme of Social Security, as opposed to handouts for the lockdown, as opposed to $878 billion for defense. And I spent 36 years in the Army, as opposed to giving $111 billion to Ukraine to finance Joe Biden's proxy war. NASA doesn't get a fraction of that money. I think the money spent by NASA is well spent. We've discovered a lot about our planet. We've done the first planetary defense, deflecting an asteroid away from the planet with the DART mission just a couple of months ago, which was incredible. Think about where we've come, folks. We've now flown back to the moon, landed something on the moon once again. Not the Chinese, screw them. We're talking about real people here.
This is Mission Control Houston. You're looking at the Orion spacecraft that splashed down about 6.5 minutes ago at 11:40 a.m. Central Time, 9:40 a.m. Pacific Time. We are estimating that it splashed down around 5 nautical miles away from the USS Portland. The recovery ship and Navy boats and divers will be approaching the vehicle before long. The spacecraft is in what is called a stable 1 configuration, upright, just the way we had expected it to be. 5 perfectly inflated crew module uprighting system bags, maintaining a nice gentle configuration for Orion. First of the Navy helicopters now approaching the vehicle.
Rob Navius, that's a white guy. We can't have white men speaking for NASA. That breaks the woke rule. That is a Navy.
And here in Mission Control, some of Orion's systems no longer needed are being powered down. Many of them will stay powered up for the next 2 hours while we conduct a series of test objectives to characterize the thermal conditioning of the spacecraft. That will be important for future data for crewed missions to determine how long the crews can remain comfortable inside a vehicle returning from the moon.
How cool would that be?
We also will be conducting tests of the beacon and SARSAT system
Well, it's
for
large enough to
maintaining
hold half a dozen astronauts,
tracking
like
of
4
the
or 6,
spacecraft,
Hank.
for recovery forces that will be approaching the spacecraft in the future. And coming up in the next hour and a half will be the reactivation of an ammonia boiler system that will provide cooling in the spacecraft, as it will when crews return from their missions on board Orion.
Well, Corona's boring, then you'll probably be interested to know that I've got about 500 hours flying in Black Hawk helicopters. They're incredible. Been flying in Black Hawk helicopters since the 1980s. They are incredible aircraft, and I love the experience. Haven't flown in one in a long time, though. There's mission control right there. Ronaldo not doing a live stream tonight. I have no idea, Freelance Kate. I don't determine NASA's schedule. Our position in space determines that, and so that's why I'm broadcasting. If Ronaldo's broadcasting right now, I don't know. Stable, one, upright, terminology. Should memorize it next time I go for some beers. Nick Muller, well said. Gina's having a little fun with Chosette. Anyone watching and not subscribed, yeah, please do subscribe. Freelance Kate, how you doing there? What else we got here? Good evening to all in the room, the sane ones. You're not being ignored, just busy splashing down. Thank you, Gina. Good to see you again, Gina. Pleasure to have you back on the program. It's been a while. I don't think I've seen you much lately. A lot of people have been busy in their lives and haven't been on YouTube. But don't forget, check your subscriptions periodically, folks. YouTube, the evil censors at YouTube remove subscriptions from this program and many others. So we're going to go, and as events unfold here, for at least another 18 minutes is the plan. We'll see how it goes. Events, unless there's a timeline they announce that's going to be longer than that, then we'll stay a bit longer. But this has been the historic Artemis 1 mission. And this is what's left of the mission, is the Orion capsule, which is returned to Earth today, splashing down about 10 minutes ago in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego.
This is Mission Control Houston. Reports from the USS Portland indicate that the first of 2 Navy helicopters flying in the vicinity of Orion, which is about 5 nautical miles away from the ship, indicate no damage to the spacecraft and no hazardous fuel leaking from the spacecraft. A good view of the helicopters.
And the recovery boats.
And the initial Navy boats that will be approaching Orion a short time from now.
Gina's been here.
Once again, the splashdown occurring at 11:40 a.m. Central Time, 9:40 a.m. Pacific Time.
Yep, that's right, folks. England is out of the World Cup. Portugal's out of the World Cup. Spain and Belgium are out. The final 4 are Morocco, France, and Argentina, Croatia. Wow, there's 2 surprises right there. Argentina and France, not big surprises, but Croatia and Morocco in the semifinals. Woo, could you imagine a Croatia-Morocco final? Boy, that's something else, wouldn't it? All right, there's the capsule. You can see 2 Navy boats with the lousy film work going on here once again on the ship. I guess they have a stationary camera, not one that has a pintle on it there. You need a gimbal. There's the helicopter coming in again. Let me get rid of my camera so you can see a little bit better. There he is. Okay, actually he's gone lower now. That is a Seahawk helicopter flying out over the capsule. And to the left are 2 Navy boats out there circling around. What's he doing now? Oh, he's so low that he's blowing up some spray on the ocean. Look at that. Looks like he's dragging something, but it's actually because he got too low. His rotors got washed onto the Pacific Ocean. Probably a bit too low there, buddy. Don't watch those bunch of drama queens. What? Yeah, no, I don't watch them either, Stefan. But we do report on it because it is newsworthy. The corrupt and dangerous World Cup in Qatar is newsworthy event for the wokeness of the Europeans who got bounced out, the Germans. Yeah, and the Brits, or the English, I should say, got bounced out on their ear. Yep. Laughed last night, but damn cold here today. You got snow, Hendo. Wow, there's a lot of snow. Ireland got snow. England got snow. I assume Scotland got snow as well. Yikes. Muggy and warm in the High Veld. Yeah, the World Cup has been so exciting. I suppose it has if you're a soccer fan, and it's been very exciting. Of course, for those of us that like games where the score doesn't end 0-0, it's not been particularly exciting. Too many 0-0 games. Too many controversies and interesting stuff. It was wild watching America beat Iran. I'll admit that I watched that game, at least parts of it. I did see the USA and England game as I flew back from the UK that day, and I was at the airport in Boston. It was on. Nothing else to do. Yes, Chosette, so we prefer rugby on this channel. That's why I have the Rugby Ascendant channel. For those of you who are not subscribers to Rugby Ascendant, feel free to join us on Rugby Ascendant. That is our sister channel, and we do broadcast. This weekend we covered the European EPCR, European Professional Club Rugby Championships, the Champions Cup, and the Challenge Cup. That was this weekend. And we had over 6,000 views. Not great, but better than we had the previous week for URC action. So let me give you the link to that channel if you want to join us. So you can just type in Rugby Ascendant, or you can put this complicated one there. We have over 2,140 subscribers. Not nearly as many as I'd like to have, but did I already get beat by Hendo? I think Hendo might have beat me to it. There it is. Yeah, Hendo, there it is. There's either one of those links will work to take you to the channel, folks. That'll take you right to my channel. Yep. So that's Rugby Ascendant over on the PooTube. And yeah, so check it out. That is something that we do. And we had a decent weekend this weekend. So you can see the Seahawk now. For some reason, he's hovering away from the capsule or is it frozen? I think that's frozen. I think we're frozen there. There we go. He's not hovering. That's frozen. Sorry about that. Image got frozen there for a moment. That is not how it was supposed to be. But yeah, so we have some really nice rain and thunder. Yeah, there's a lot of rain there in, I was told today that Old Sport.
This is Mission Control Houston. Orion in the Pacific Ocean, having splashed down at 11:40 a.m. Central Time, 9:40 a.m. Pacific Time, around 5 nautical miles or so from the USS Portland. A textbook entry for the vehicle. On the USS Portland at this hour, my colleague Daryl Nell from the Kennedy Space Center, who's with the Exploration Ground Systems Recovery Team. Daryl, how did it look to you? It certainly looked textbook to us here.
I'd say that's a great description, Rob. Perfectly landed here in the Pacific Ocean, and that's been confirmed by the operations manager that I just spoke to. Watching it from the deck as an observer, we have, as you can see, some broken clouds in the sky, like right around 3,000 feet. But we saw those 3 full main parachutes pop out. It was a beautiful sight, probably just about, several thousand feet in the sky. And then we watched that slow descent as the Orion crew module made its way down
to the ocean,
to the Pacific Ocean. Saw the splash. And then, of course, the assets aboard the USS Portland here immediately started making their way towards the splashdown site. And as you see live now, they are close to being next to the capsule. Now, the helicopters that you see flying there, those are MH-60s. We have 2 of them in the air, Seahawks. And they are right now gathering high-quality, high-definition imagery of the capsule in the water.
Smoking stuff out there on the left-hand side. What's
There's a spotter aboard. We have photographers as well.
In the water?
The doors are completely open on both sides of the helicopters, and so you can see them flying at a circular track around the splashdown location.
No, I can't fly helicopters.
They have marked, if you can see it, you can see what looks like smoke coming off a location just to the left there. That is the boats having marked location where some of the debris has come down, the debris that was part of the separation event, part of the parachutes opening event. So you have the sabot as well as the lid from the parachutes. All of that is being tracked by the Sasquatch team. And the Navy boats are marking that with floatable smoke grenades.
There we go, floatable smoke grenades. And now the Halo
all of that hardware the team wants to recover because there's valuable information and data in it. The helicopters will be out for another 20 minutes gathering imagery. You can see one of them getting very close to the crew module.
Yeah, very close.
There is an GSS camera, ultra high definition, 8K, which is gathering imagery. We are currently on course to go right by the splashdown location. So we are right about 3.5 miles and closing. We are going to a point that's going to be 1 mile out. That's our next waypoint.
Okay.
1 mile out from the splashdown location. One of the things we're waiting for is for ammonia boil off. And that's why the Navy boats are not yet next to the capsule. We'll still going to wait that out. The amount of time that that's going to take is
dependent on
has not been determined. They have allowed for as much as 2 hours. The ammonia on the capsule is used for cooling purposes, to keep the cabin cool for crew. Of course, there's no crew in this capsule, but for future missions, it will certainly be an important part of keeping the astronauts cool during the heat of re-entry. But for now, they're going to vent off that ammonia.
Yeah, so Chaussette's girl wants to know where I'm at. J'habite au Pennsylvanie, aux États-Unis, depuis plus de 7 ans, parce que j'étais officier dans l'armée de terre, stationné ici en Pennsylvanie, comme colonel. Ja, also ich wohne hier in nicht Deutschland, sondern in Pennsylvanien, schon seit über 7 Jahren. Ich bin hier als Offizier stationiert in der Armee und ich war Oberst und jetzt bin ich also pensioniert. Ich habe die Retraite genommen. Ja. Anyway, yes, I live in Pennsylvania there, Chaussette's girl. You've popped in the past before and you don't know where I'm at. That's interesting. Anyway, yeah, so... And there is Bill Nelson, the octogenarian director of NASA. Let's listen to hear what Bill Nelson's got to say.
Rob, I'm overwhelmed. I'd say it's good to see you, but this is an extraordinary day.
It is.
I remember years ago when I saw you return on Columbia from your mission into space, and it all conjures up a tremendous amount of memories. Orion back on Earth, having circumnavigated the moon, having survived a critical test of its heat shield, I think you have to be hesitant to celebrate and throw confetti a little bit too early, but it certainly is an important achievement, is it not?
It's historic because we are now going back into space, into deep space, with a new generation. Kennedy just stunned everybody with the Apollo generation and said that we were going to achieve what we thought was impossible, and did that in a short period of time. And many things have happened since, but we knew we were going back, but we knew we were going back to the moon just to continue to explore outward into the cosmos. And so that's why this is a defining day. It is one that marks new technology, a whole new breed of astronaut, a vision for the future that captures the DNA of particularly Americans, although we do this as an international venture. And that DNA is we are adventurers, we are explorers. We always have a frontier, and that frontier is now to continue exploring the heavens.
Bill Nelson has a push-to-talk button.
We had to wait a while for Artemis to finally get to the point where the Space Launch System got us underway back on November 16th. But once it did, these engineers and the other members of the teams, front room, back room, they've been pretty giddy over the amount of data that they've required and how this vehicle appears to have exceeded its expectations in its performance.
The whole vehicle, the rocket, the European participation in the support module, the spacecraft itself, Orion, performing so well that they added a lot of tests. And lo and behold, we're going to be up to our ears in data, thankfully. And of course, today the two main things that had to happen was that that heat shield had to work, and it did beautifully, where they can skip off the atmosphere and bleed that speed down from 25,000 miles an hour. And then the parachutes had to work, and they did it as well.
You know, the engineering, the design of this mission all the work that will go into the next flight when a crew is on board, right, to orbit the moon. What does this say about NASA and the international partner cooperation and the partnership that ultimately takes us not only to the moon but beyond?
Well, it says a lot about our country because we don't do it secretively. We do it openly, and we do it with our friends, and we invite all peoples of the earth. And we are doing it also with commercial partners, because when we go into orbit on Apollo 3, we are going to rendezvous and dock with in this case, SpaceX lander, and the crew will go down to the surface. And then we have another competition going on now for another lander, so that we will have 2 landers. And again, this is the program of going back to the moon to learn, to live, to invent, to create in order to explore beyond.
50 years ago today, Gene Cernan, Jack Schmitt landed their lunar module Challenger on Taurus Littrow, the final lunar landing. It only seems fitting half a century later to the day, Orion back home.
And what a fitting opportunity that I had last night to sit with Jack Schmitt at the astronaut dinner and to talk to him about those experiences. 50 years, it's a long time, but look what we have done in the meantime. The space shuttle, we built the International Space Station, we brought in commercial partners. We now go to and from regularly the International Space Station with cargo and crew.
New horizons.
And here we go. We've got scouts going to the moon that are commercial scouts that land, that take NASA instruments and scientific instruments in preparing us for the landings of our astronauts. And so it's a new day. A new day has dawned. An Artemis generation is taking us there.
And Orion continues to await the arrival of the USS Portland, which shouldn't be very much longer from now, and some flight test objectives that will be taking place over the next couple of hours before we here in Houston hand the vehicle over to the Kennedy Space Center recovery team. NASA Administrator Bill Nelson, pleasure to see you today, and thank you so much for being with us.
What a day. Oh, it is my great privilege.
So there you have it, folks. That was NASA Administrator Bill Nelson. He's an octogenarian. He's 80 years of age, and he left a lot of stuff out there. NASA's major accomplishments over the past several decades have included the New Horizons mission to Pluto and beyond through the Kuiper Belt, in addition to cooperation in the Cassini mission and all sorts of other things, the James Webb Space Telescope, the Hubble Telescope, so many other things, the Chandra X-ray Telescope, all of these great contributions to astronomy, to physics, to science. All of this is going on, and Bill Nelson forgot all about that stuff. But you can give him a break. He's excited. He's in his 80s, and he lived to see this, so pretty cool for him. Who's smarter than a lot of us? Why we never got any close-up of anything, NASA? Stefan has electricity again. So we are now 27 minutes since splashdown in the Pacific, waiting for the Portland. It's getting very close to its spot, 1 mile, statute mile away from the capsule. The woman in charge of the recovery. She doesn't look like to me like she's in the Navy.
Thank you, Rob. That's right. Melissa Jones, the recovery director, just came from
Clark
outside
Kent.
the ship's control center where she was.
Daryl Nail, also known as Clark Kent. See? Well, she doesn't miss any meals, does she?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is an exciting day.
What a day it is, right? We just had splashdown, and want to ask you, first of all, operationally, where do we stand and what do we have to go?
So we had a picture-perfect splashdown, and at this time we're gathering data with the CM powered up, we'll get some flight test objective data on thermal conditioning, and we're doing some signal data with the tri-band beacons, making sure that we can see the beacons on the capsules and on the astronaut suits to prepare for Artemis 2. And once that is complete, the vehicle will be powered down by the Mission Control Center, and they'll hand that over officially to us here locally in the Pacific. And then we will approach the capsule and attach some lines to it and pull it into the back of the well deck.
And that's a delicate mission, right? Because you will be attaching lines, and through the use of Navy boats, and then also a winch inside the well deck, and
A winch?
Navy sailors
What
on
winch
the
is inside
lines
the
attached
capsule?
to it as well.
Oh, a winch.
Seems
You
like a
said a
very
winch.
delicate operation,
What do you
especially
mean a
getting in the
winch?
well deck where waves will
Did
be
you hear that?
sloshing around. And we've got
Did you hear that? He said a winch is in the capsule. I think he meant a winch. He said winch.
To try to control the capsule in the well deck with all the water that we have in there, and to softly land it on the cradle so that we can capture as much data from the heat shield as possible.
Now, as the capsule was coming down, just briefly tell me your reaction that moment that it splashed down.
So when they called capture from the helicopters, it was the most amazing feeling. It's just been a long time coming. We've been working this mission for a while, and we've done a ton of training. And every time you do training with a mock-up capsule, you don't have any of that. You don't have parachutes. You don't, hear it coming back through the atmosphere, the sonic booms, and all of that kind of stuff. And today that actually happened.
all that kind
it's
of
just
stuff.
amazing.
And your team, it's worth noting, has been out here a long time. From the moment of launch, you were on console, ready to support if something off-nominal happened, unusual. You were going to be able to recover that capsule wherever it was needed to recover. So you were working that, and then stayed through Thanksgiving all the way to now. So it's been a long road.
It has been, yeah. Several of us supported launch, and then we deployed out here about 23 days before, and we're out here for Thanksgiving as a team. So we have been waiting for this and preparing for it for a while.
And it looks like you're doing a great job so far.
Thank you.
Good luck
Close.
the rest of the way, Melissa Jones, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, Rob?
All right, so there you have it from the woman in charge of the recovery. Not in the Navy, so I guess they work for her. We go back to the Portland in a few moments. You can see that it's getting very close to the capsule. It'll sit 1 statute mile away. Yes, Fiona, a wench is very different than a winch. That's why I mention it. Maybe a young female winch. The Exploration Ground System Recovery Team. The Orion will eventually be brought into the well deck of the USS Portland. Bob Cabana, NASA's Associate Administrator now.
With Orion back on Earth, another milestone accomplished on the road back to putting Americans on the surface of the moon. In terms of the criticality of what we've seen over the past 4 weeks, your thoughts on how this mission evolved, and now the stepping stone that would put a crew on board a couple of years from now?
Oh, Rob, it's been absolutely critical to get this mission off safely. This test flight is what we need in order to prove this vehicle so that we can fly with a crew, and that's the next step, and I can't wait.
Okay, Bob's voice is annoying and slow, so I'm just going to turn him off because he's kind of annoying. Yeah, so not a single person has been to the moon. Really? Okay, all right. Oh, look at the wash coming from the helicopter. You can see it up close now from the Seahawk helicopter floating over that capsule now, which has been at sea now for 32 minutes, over half an hour. A little bit of a wave coming up there. This, of course, is the splashdown of the historic Artemis mission, and that is the Orion capsule, all part of NASA's effort to return to the moon. Of course, their priority is to put a woman and a person of color on the moon. And that will be the crewed mission, and that'll be their focus. That's what they care about. Yeah, so that guy is putting me to sleep. I can hear him in the background. You can't, and trust me, I'm doing a big favor so you don't have to listen to him. It is really, really mind-numbing, his voice. It's what people use to cure insomnia. Behind them, you can see a scale-up model of the SLS rocket. And that's the Artemis mission back there in that scale model. Bob Cabana is the NASA Associate Administrator. He's the one talking and putting me to sleep. so you don't have to hear him. '50th anniversary of the 1972 lunar landing, the last time to the day Gene Cernan landed on the moon, 1972 on this date. So what a historic moment to have this splashdown take place. And we resume an effort to put a lunar station up on the moon's surface. On the dark side of the moon, folks, that's where it'll be. Get some protection because the moon is, of course, geostationary, locked with Earth, so it doesn't turn away from us at any time. This is a pretty incredible event. Well, folks, Buck Rogers and V is more exciting than woke NASA. All right, so let's say this. Wow, people left and some have come back now. Anyway. Let me put his voice on so you can see how sleep-inducing it is.
The mission, more than the mission highlights, is being with the teams at the Kennedy Space Center, at the Marshall Space Flight Center, here at the Johnson Space Center, and just being able to go up and talk to them and thank them for all their hard work that got us to where we are. I think it means a lot to me.
And Bob, final question. The next step, Artemis 2, putting a crew on a vehicle to orbit the moon. It's going to be a complicated mission. It's a long road. It seems like a long time from now, but based on what we've just witnessed and based on what we believe will be the ultimate data flow out of this.
Are they still talking? Are they still talking? Oh, my goodness. Whew. Rotate what, Stefan? Yeah. Anyway, crazy stuff. Fiona, that's the first lunar landing. The last lunar landing was 1972. That was the last lunar landing. Oh, they screwed up. They went back to Daryl out there on the boat. Clark Kent wanted to speak, and we're still listening to Boring Bob here. So we'll wait for Clark Kent to come back and see what he's got to say. Yep. So hopefully someone will get the word to our old white guy narrator there. Oh, yeah, it doesn't rotate. What did I say? Spin? Same difference. We're spinning at 17,000 miles per hour in space. All right, we're waiting for this boring fellow to quit talking there. Bob Cabana, NASA's mini administrator there, is going to finally disappear. We're going to go back to Clark Kent on the USS Portland, hopefully. All right, we're going to go back to Clark Kent. Is he ready? Come on. Someone tell Clark Kent to get ready to talk. A bird. It's a plane. No, it's Clark Kent sitting on the USS Portland waiting to talk, and we're getting nothing from him. Silence. Silence. Look how nonplussed the control room is. Everyone's like, okay, just another day at the office here. Nothing exciting happening here. Not like we returned a capsule from orbiting the moon safely to the Pacific Ocean. Yeah, okay. Notice the control room. What do you see? A bunch of white guys. Yet, what is the face of NASA? Gay, women, people of color. There's one lady in the room. One lady in the room. Otherwise, it's a bunch of white guys. All right, we're back to Clark Kent now, folks. Clark.
Yeah, we're very close to that moment, Rob, here on the USS Portland. We're just about 100 miles off the coast of Baja, Mexico. The operation, as you've heard and been commentating, it is going pretty smoothly at this point. But we are in a pre-planned waiting period as we wait for the ammonia that is inside the capsule. It is used for cooling. This is boiling off at this moment into the atmosphere, and until that's complete, the boats will be on hold. Now, the Navy divers right now at this moment are outside of the 120-yard radius around the capsule. That was part of the plan. They will close within just a few feet to start detecting if there are any hazardous gases coming from the capsule. But that will only happen once our recovery director, Melissa Jones, has given them the go to close in. The ship, meanwhile, the USS Portland, is on its way to close within 2,000 yards of the capsule. As you can see it floating there.
Closer.
The bags fully inflated that are used to upright it. Bright orange in color at the top of the capsule. The ship will then come alongside the capsule, and once the Navy divers have gone in and made sure that the capsule is safe to approach, they will begin taking imagery.
All right, well, let's stop listening to Clark Kent there for a moment as we see the capsule bobbing up and down the Pacific Ocean off the coast of California, about 5 nautical miles out to sea. The USS Portland approaching within 2,000 yards. Be there momentarily. Still waiting for the ammonia to burn off. Well, this is lousy camera work. I'm going to have to slide over here so that you can see. There we go. So you can see that. Anyway, so, oh, now the camera moves. So, you turds. Let's come back here. Okay. All right. So, Stefan Fourie says, yeah, because we know how many black women in STEM right now. They're practically dominating the field. Actually, maybe in South Africa, but not in the United States. Our STEM fields are dominated by foreign imports. Over half of our PhDs are granted to foreign nationals, people from around the world, not Americans. That includes people of color and people who are less pigmented. The field is dominated in America by women because women are the only ones actively recruited in the STEM fields. They discourage men from attending STEM fields. The bigotry and misandry against men in STEM is epic. And since 2000, women have been 60% of master's and PhD granted degrees at universities in the United States in the fields of STEM. So they outnumber men by a wide margin. It's an intentional effort to eliminate men from the field and to make false claims about advancements in technology that weren't achieved by women. Instead of just encouraging all children to go into science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, there's been an active effort to discriminate against men, and it has paid off. For over 2 decades now, men have been disappearing from the STEM fields. It's all intentional. It's all intentional. I know you're being sarcastic, Stefan, but it was a great opportunity for me to talk about the topic, and that's why I did it. Yes, and that's the thing, Stefan Fourie. We hear lies from NASA and others about how few STEM graduates we have. It's utter nonsense. We have over 1 million STEM graduates in this country who do not work in their chosen field of study. They either don't want to work for low government wages or can't find a job in the private sector or find something more lucrative. Here we are, back to the woke NASA. Let's see what we got here now. Woke NASA. Here we go. Director of the Johnson Space Center.
NASA. Great Sunday to have you here with us on Console.
Fabulous Sunday. What a great day. It's amazing to me everything that has been accomplished throughout this entire mission. But being here with the team and seeing and witnessing this splashdown together, amazing, wonderful. I really can't describe how I feel.
You know, we were talking just a moment ago, it never ceases to amaze me how these missions are designed. The execution is one thing, but the design of the mission here by the flight control team, and just down the hall, by the way, there are humans orbiting the Earth in the International Space Station, so it's almost like a 2-for-1 here.
It is. I mean, to me this week, and well, for the past 26 days, being able to come into the control center and know that we had teams controlling the International Space Station with our crew members on board, and we've had, as you know, successfully crews living off of this planet for over 22 years.
What?
But then in another control center.
Really?
Where we're monitoring and making sure that the maneuver.
Okay, I can't stomach listening to her, so I'm just going to come back over here. So, wow, she's giving us the breaking news that we've had crews living in the International Space Station for 22 years. I didn't know that. News to me, folks. Better not be mansplaining. Yeah, no, of course I'm incredibly calm. I wasn't on the capsule, so there's nothing to be excited about. Although, if you watched me for the Starship missions, which are still on this channel, the exploding Starship was at 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, something like that. I was quite animated and emotional on those. And when we launched a few of our missions last year, I was incredibly emotional. Tears came to my eyes. Those are all on here. Ronaldo's here. They landed safely on Mars. Wow, look at all that water. It shows what fake news I'm seeing. Ronaldo. Yeah. By the way, if you want to make sure you get them from Amazon Prime, that way you're not paying for the shipping. And even if you don't have Prime, get them from there because you can return it. Because these things are all made in China. And if you order it and it's shipped from China, it'll take a few weeks to get there. And then if it's broken, you can't do anything about it. But if it's Amazon Prime, you'll be able to send it back to them if it's broken. So get yourself the cool glasses that way. Ronaldo, speaking of fake stuff, what's going on in the world of South African politics? There have been requests, Ronaldo, for an appearance by yourself, Germ, myself, and Roman to appear together once again on air. Here comes the Navy Seahawk coming in over it as the Johnson Space Center administrator there who checks 2 blocks for the corrupt, racist Biden regime. She's a woman, and she's a woman of color, so that takes care. Oh, you're fighting the... Oh, Ronaldo is sick. Sorry to hear that, man. Sounds like a plan. I'm keen. Yeah, as am I, Ronaldo. Let's do something before Christmas if we can get all 4 of us on. That'd be pretty cool. I think Roman might be the long pole in the tent. We'll see. I'm sure Jerem is keen to do it. You and I are keen to do it. If we could just get Roman to come on and join us, that would be pretty cool. Be a lot of fun. I'm sorry to hear that you're under the weather, Ronaldo. I, too, have got some kind of bug, which is almost gone, but I just can't get rid of some of this congestion here. But it's mostly gone. Yeah, so once again, folks, this was the splashdown of the Orion capsule for the Artemis 1 mission, which was an unmanned mission from Earth, Kennedy Space Center, to the moon, orbiting around the moon, dropping a module down onto the surface of the moon, and then returning. This is the Artemis Flight Control Room in the Johnson Space Center. The cap I'm wearing, of course, is from the Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas. The mission was launched from the Kennedy Space Center in Cape Canaveral, Florida, and it's been controlled from Johnson Space Center in Houston, Texas, named after one of the most venal, racist, slimy presidents we ever had, and that was Lyndon Baines Johnson. Ken says Chris Ronaldo sounds good to me. All right, so anyway, folks, so that would explain, because someone said, Freelance Kate said, is Ronaldo not streaming today? Well, now we know why. He's under the weather. Sorry to hear about the Ronaldo. I hope you're feeling better sometime soon. Make myself out on the camera a little bit better. Oh, there it is. Now, as soon as I move out, look how close they are now. Look at all the scratches on that, man. Who was scraping on the side of that capsule when it was in space? Were there aliens up there doing that? Look at all those marks on that thing. It looks like it's been used for about 50 years. No voice. Fever about to break. Hang in there, Ronaldo. Take some good meds for it, man. Yep. We used to have lots of meds here in America, but turns out we offshored all our medication production to China. So we don't even make ibuprofen or aspirin here in America anymore, or basic antibiotics. We develop it, we design it, we patent it. Big pharma makes money off of it, and then they ship it offshore to the Chinese who make it. That's pretty frightening.
Since the splashdown of the Orion spacecraft to complete its 25-and-a-half-day mission, flight controllers here in Houston are reporting that the vehicle looks great. In the initial visual inspections being made by the helicopter teams, as you heard Daryl Nail reference just a short time ago. We just heard from Vanessa Weich, the Johnson Space Center director. Now let's turn our attention to the East Coast, to the Kennedy Space Center, where the director of the Kennedy Space Center, Janet Petro, is standing by with us. Janet, what a moment as your exploration ground systems folks are hard at work out in the Pacific.
Absolutely. Thanks, Rob. It's been a really, really exciting morning, and can't wait for our teams to get to work out there on the West Coast.
You know, we heard a short time ago from Melissa Jones from the deck of the USS Portland. How complicated has been the development of this recovery operation that your team is executing as we speak?
Well, it's pretty complicated, but, you know, our teams make it look easy. I will start out by saying or giving, I should say, a big shout out to really Vanessa and her flight ops team and the whole Orion team to deliver an amazing mission, bringing us down through splashdown. But now it's over to Melissa and her team, and she's done an incredible amount of work to get to this point. You know, what we do at NASA, it really is all about collaborations, and the collaborations that we've had with the Department of Defense in particular over the past many years, their hard work and their dedication as they went through a great deal of planning, hardware development and processes, and a lot of practicing to get to this point and make it look easy. You know, that capsule sitting out there on the ocean, it looks very similar to the Apollo capsule, but it's actually about 30% larger. And so the complexity of recovering that larger vehicle is a little bit more. But Melissa and her team have been practicing, you know, their latest.
Okay, look, I'm getting a little nauseated at your promoting Melissa. You know, we know she's a rock star. Get over it.
21st of last year, 2021. So they're ready. Watching these teams precisely perform these recovery operations is amazing. And so I think we're going to have a really great day. I'm going to be traveling to San Diego to watch the ship come in port in a couple days. So I look forward to seeing that capsule on board the well-decked ship.
So us taxpayers are paying for her joyride to San Diego just to watch the thing be brought into the shore. Will somebody pay for my flight to San Diego so I can watch it come in the shore? Why does she need to be there? She's from the Kennedy Space Center. Why is she going to San Diego? Why are we paying for that? Just asking. I think it's a fair question, don't you? And look at that Seahawk. What a great helicopter.
The beginning of the journey back to KSC. So as I mentioned, I'll be there in San Diego when the ship comes into port in a couple of days. And then Orion will then be loaded onto a truck and transported back to the Kennedy Space Center. And that's going to take a couple of days because of road-related conditions. You know, the Orion will still have some residual hazardous waste on it. And of course, planning the roadways as it gets trucked back to the Kennedy Space Center takes some careful navigation. So by the end of this month, the end of December, we expect to have Orion coming back onto our center. We think that's going to be a really great Christmas present for us here at the Kennedy Space Center. And it'll go right into our multi-payload processing facility for its post-flight assessment. And that's where the remaining residual hazardous fluids will be removed from it. And then just after the new year, the teams will be opening up the hatch of the Orion. And then once that's complete, I think Rob, you called it the moment of truth. They'll remove that heat shield and begin a really detailed inspection and assessment of how that heat shield performed during its reentry and recovery operation. So we're really looking forward. I know the whole team's really looking forward to see how that assessment comes out. And then after that, it's Orion's journey is not done. It'll be making its way up to the Glenn Research Center, where it will be doing some acoustic and further environmental testing up at that center. So journey isn't over. It's just kind of making its way here on the terrestrial path back. So,
well, she finally took a breath there. I thought I could get a word in edgewise there. Boy, once again, why is the shuttle being trucked across the country? Why don't we put it in the back of a C-17 and fly it back to Florida? Then you don't have to wait on it. Is it the hazardous material they're talking about inside of it? I wonder. These glasses can be sourced from the Chinese. They're all made in China by various shipping companies will send them to you. My recommendation is you buy them off of Amazon, that you get them at a decent price. These cost me about $7 a pair US, so not that much, less than 200 Rand for a pair. Well, less than 150 Rand, about 130 Rand roughly. And they were Amazon Prime, so if they stop working, I send it back. I got 3 pair. Came 3 pair in the boxes. So this is the box they came in. Luminous goggles. Promoting yet more women on NASA. Here we go.
Rob, we've got a front row seat to this operation. As you can see behind me, Shannon Walker, as you mentioned, NASA astronaut, joining me with this incredible view as we watch that capsule floating in the Pacific Ocean just 100 miles off of Baja, Mexico. We have an MH-60 Nighthawk helicopter encircling it, and the Navy boats in the water. First of all, Shannon, how about this view?
It is amazing view and so exciting to see the Orion capsule back on Earth.
That is a human-rated capsule that went around the moon and returned and is now in the Pacific Ocean. As an astronaut, what kind of thoughts do you have seeing a moment like this?
Well, it's actually really emotional to see something like this, knowing that the next time we're going to have people on that capsule or the second Orion capsule. It's pretty amazing that we're going to be able to go back to the moon soon. Incredible indeed. And as we look at, let's paint the picture for the audience as we look out at this operation. Currently in a moment where we are pausing for ammonia boil-off. That's the cooling that the Orion crew module uses to keep the astronauts cool inside the cabin as they wait to be taken out of the capsule. There's none in this one, but this would be a period in which that would happen. You can see the Navy boats. They are roughly outside of 120 yards from the capsule. They have equipment that will sniff out any hazardous gases near the Orion, and so they are holding in position until that ammonia boil-off happens. And then also in your view, you can see the MH-60 circling back around. It is leaning so the photographers inside and a high-resolution camera mounted on the side can get imagery of the capsule fresh from space. And my question to you, Shannon, is as we watch this continue to wait and for the Navy divers to get closer, thoughts of Artemis 2 now come to mind. You've heard folks have been talking about it. Rob has been discussing it with many of the leadership around NASA. People want to know, well, who are the astronauts going to be for Astronaut 2?
Yeah.
So,
any idea?
That is the question. No, I have no idea. Once we get this capsule back, we'll look it over and we'll be able to determine when Artemis 2 will actually be able to launch. And once we know that launch date, we'll figure out the right time to name the crew based on the training flow.
So there's actually a period of training in which you have to do a set amount of time to get ready for that, but really predicated on Artemis 2 and that launch date?
Absolutely. We don't want to have the crew just spinning their wheels if Artemis 2 is going to be a long way out, but I don't think it will be, so I would say sometime in the next 6 months maybe. Is it just a guess? Don't hold me to it. We might be naming the crew.
All right, very good. Shannon Walker, NASA astronaut, thanks for joining us today. One quick update and note, the recovery team was looking at the possibility of recovering the parachutes as well as the forward bay cover, but that is not going to happen this time. They did mark their locations, but they did slip below the surface of the ocean, and so no recovery of the parachutes or the forward bay cover. That's it from right here on the USS Portland. Rob, we'll send it back to you.
So pollution. So NASA pollutes the Pacific Ocean with 3 parachutes and a recovery door. There you have it, folks. That's been live coverage of the Orion return to Earth, the Orion spacecraft. For those of you who enjoy the glasses, there you go. They're kind of cool. Let me shut them off real quick. Here's a little button on the side here, and they're off. Let's get some light. Watch your eyes. They're going to get bright here in a second. There we go. There we go. Anyway, that has been live coverage. And an update for the HSBC 7 series in Cape Town. The women, New Zealand defeated the Australian women who've just been lights out, Australian women. So New Zealand wins the women's first place. Australia comes in second. Then USA defeated Ireland for third. So New Zealand, Australia, USA finished 1, 2, and 3 in the women's sevens. In the men's sevens, it is Samoa that surprises everybody and wins the title. The men, Samoa won, followed in second place by New Zealand, and the USA defeated South Africa's Blitzboks to get the bronze medal. USA has improved in the 3. The Hong Kong, they finished with 12 points, Dubai with 15 points, and now in Cape Town, 17 points. The women's standings, first place Australia with 38 points, now tied with New Zealand because they've split. Dubai first and second, and the USA has come in third on both occasions. So USA is 6 points behind New Zealand and Australia for third place with 2 bronze medals in 2 tournaments. Next up is Hamilton in New Zealand. For the men, next up is also Hamilton. And for the men, the USA, it's Samoa now in first place at 47 points. South Africa, second place at 47 points, tied essentially. Same finishes in the 3 tournaments. New Zealand with 44 points and USA in 4th place tied with them. So essentially it's 1 and 2. USA is 2nd in the standings right now. 44 points, just 3 points behind Samoa and South Africa for the top of the HSBC 7 Series logs. All in all, a good weekend for USA 7s into South Africa. The USA is going to upset many more times. Yes, Grant, you keep saying that. I hear you, but the USA was sucky for the last 2 years. They were top of the log for most of the season in 2018. Perry Baker was back-to-back time. Oh, we can see the Navy sailors approaching. Yeah, the divers are getting very close to the capsule now, folks. Actually, let me put that up in the corner there while I'm chatting here. There you go. So you can see them close to the screen right now as you get ready to rack up here. Check Take a Lot. Yeah, are you talking about for the goggles? Yeah, you can probably find them Take a Lot. Yeah, so I'm not sure what that's supposed to be there, Fiona. It's a bunch of characters. Looks like you're trying to post something. Citizen Guardian wants a pair. Oh, so we have another now woke young lady. Who is this? Who is this?
Objectives. The vehicle performed every bit as well as we hoped and even better in a lot of ways. So as an example, the solar rays generated more power throughout the flight than we expected. So this is the furthest any human-rated spacecraft has ever gone, and that required a lot of complex analysis and mission planning and trajectory planning ahead of the mission, and to see it all come together and have such a successful test mission was amazing.
Michelle, it was a test flight, of course.
So let me just be clear about something here, very, very clear about something, folks. She said the furthest any human-rated spacecraft, which is true. Of course, we know that the Viking missions are now outside of the solar system. They've exited the solar system. The New Horizons is headed that way, passing through the Kuiper Belt and continuing on. But for craft rated for human occupation in the craft, this is the furthest that any craft has ever gone. It orbited the moon quite a ways. Yeah, so there you go. Anyway, you can see the Navy divers out there in their Zodiacs waiting to approach, waiting for a confirmation that the ammonia has burned off, and that should happen sometime very soon. Very soon. And be sure that you get some legitimate ones, folks, that you can return if they don't work, because these are poorly made, crappy things, and they're not particularly durable, but they are kind of cool. All right? All right. They're cheap, so if they break, you can get another pair pretty quickly. All right. So Head says, great stream. Thank you so much for that, folks. I don't know if there'll be night owls. I'm going to take a break for a little bit. I really slept in this morning. I do have work to do on my beekeeping. I got through another module. I've got more modules to go before the year's over. I got to start prepping for the Christmas broadcast. That's be coming up. I got a lot going on. So thanks for tuning in, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this stream. Be sure to give us a like on the channel if you don't mind. Be very grateful for that. And y'all take care. And thanks so much. I enjoyed it too, Fiona. Thank you all. Enjoyed the conversation. I enjoyed the people who pretended that space isn't real and who said the moon landings were fake. Always good entertainment to have people trolling like that. So thanks for coming in. And now that you've had your fun in the stream, it's probably time to go and get your meds because you need them. Meanwhile, get ready for the next release of the Twitter files, which will show the suppression of spicy cough. Yep. And if you're not a subscriber, why not become one? Cost you nothing but a moment of your time. All you do is push that button right below the video.
That was easy.
And you become a subscriber. It's free. Why not? You know, you can subscribe to thousands of channels on YouTube. It doesn't matter, but why not subscribe to this one? Thank you so much. And we're going to turn the woke NASA nonsense off. Thanks, everybody. Really appreciate support for the channel. And we'll catch you next time here. Twitter files all over the internet. They should be, but they're not in the mainstream media. Mainstream media is ignoring the story because they're complicit in the fraud that took place. All right, here you go, folks. Cheers. Bye-bye.